think what is going on in this country in the context of incarceration, the number of people we're incarcerating, the types of people we're incarcerating, I think is the human rights issue of our generation. And if you look at the number of minorities that are being incarcerated versus white people, it's tremendous. My name is Adam Heyman. I'm a public defender at the Legal Aid Society in Brooklyn, New York. I've been a public defender for approximately 12 years. So the Legal Aid Society is a nonprofit organization. It has over 1,000 people on its staff, and they help to sort of ease the sort of burdens of New Yorkers who are marginalized. Have you ever heard of the following things? You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. Those are the Miranda rights. Well, if you can't afford an attorney in the context of a criminal matter and you're accused of a crime, you get a free lawyer, and I'm one of those free lawyers. In New York City, when you get arrested for a crime, if the case doesn't get resolved at its first court date, which is called arraignment, a judge can set bail on your case, which means that you have to pay money in order to leave jail. And a lot of people who get arrested are poor, and so they can't afford to leave jail, even though they're innocent unless proven guilty.
Judge, I'd ask that you consider the following. There's always two sides to every story. He tells me a very compelling story that's actually quite consistent with a couple of things, including the SAP warrant that you have in front of you.
And so what it does is it ends up causing this huge population of folks who sit in jail and wait till their case gets resolved somehow. And sometimes these cases last for months, if not years, and so it's a really devastating thing to people because they get incarcerated pending their trial. You know, money shouldn't dictate what happens to your case.
And what I see happening is that if you do set even nominal bail on him, even $250, he won't be able to afford it. He will lose his job. He's trying to be a productive member of society.
And so typically, if you get arrested and bail is set, the likelihood is you're going to Rikers Island. Jail on its own is just cruel and inhumane. Jail is just horrible. I mean, imagine if I said to you, for the next year, you were locked in this room. The lights would never turn off. You had no contact really to the outside world. The food was terrible. You didn't get any exercise. The way people are treated by guards and the way people are treated by other inmates are also just terrible. Jail is, I think, one of the worst things we could ever do to human beings. About 99% of all of the cases that come through New York City never end up going to trial. And the reason why that is because of what you're talking about, which is called plea bargaining. Where in exchange for pleading guilty, the prosecutor lowers the charges, lowers the sentence, gives you some kind of deal. The problem with the plea deal is that oftentimes when people can't afford to get out of jail, sometimes they just plead guilty even though they're not guilty, just so they can get out. I think another issue that I think we need to really work on is when people get convicted of a crime, that criminal record stays with them for the rest of their lives. But to have a criminal record for the rest of your life really changes the trajectory of where you go. Your potential is totally sort of lost when you don't have the ability to apply for jobs or to get loans. And so I really think that we need to change the way we do criminal records in this country. I think we need to invest in people more than invest in incarcerating them. I think that's first and foremost. I think we spend too much money on putting people in boxes, and that destroys their lives. Not only does it destroy their lives, but it destroys the lives of the people who rely on them. I think we need to spend more money on giving people access to jobs and education and health care and all sorts of other resources. Human rights really just has to do with treating people fairly and treating people honestly. And so I think we have to think about more creative ways of sort of taking care of people and making sure that if we do have to separate them from society for whatever reason, that we treat them with more dignity and with respect.